Welcome back to your Networth's Network, guys. I'm your host, Corey McNabb, and this is a networking style podcast where we bring up special guests, learn about them, about their business, and see how we can all work together. My goal in life is to rise to a place of excellence, and I want to bring you with me. Now, that being said, let's introduce our special guest today, Kathie Sonner.
Hi, Corey.
How's it going, Kathie?
It's going really well. How are you?
I'm good. Good. So we've talked a little bit, but people watching, they might not know who you are. So do you mind giving them a little background?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Kathie Sonner. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, originally from Southern California, and been out here in this market about 4 years now. Bought my first investment property here in 2019 before I lived here. But I am married. I have 3 adult children. My very first granddaughter was born 1 week ago today. So that's really been kind of the highlight of this past week or so. I was going to see if I could. Here's a really quick picture of her, little girl. So I'm a mom of 3 girls, and I raised my niece, and I have 3 daughters from other mothers. So I'm definitely a mom, a girl mom, you might say. I am a birth doula as well as a real estate investor. I'm doing wholesaling in Tennessee right now. And yeah, that's about it. I have my dog Ranger, my Tennessee Ranger on Instagram. He has his own show. I post all the awesome dog parks and outdoor spaces here in Nashville as I take him out every single day for his stimulation. So he is my heart wrapped in fur.
That's great. So it sounds like you've got a lot going on. So how do you kind of manage all of those things?
I'm pretty good at time management for myself. I am very dedicated to my sleep. I prioritize my sleep, which means I'm in bed at 9 o'clock at night. I am out of bed by 6 a.m., off to the dog park, getting all his exercise done, my exercise done for the day. Come home and I get to it. Chunking my time is really, really important. The only time that gets offset is if I have a birth, because birth is spontaneous. So occasionally my chunking my time goes out the window and I rush off to either a home birth or a hospital birth. But it's really important to me to really designate the hours in my day and how I spend them.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Sleep. That is one of the big things for us as well, is sleep. My wife and I we're not necessarily lax on our sleep. I do, I work at the fire station, and when I'm there, I go to bed around 9, and they always make fun of me. They're like, "Oh, because we actually have a saying is if you go to bed before 11, you're guaranteed up before 7." So, which that depends on the station you're at. It's not always true. But anyways, so we're pretty strict on our sleep, but we're really strict on our daughter's sleep. Like you mentioned, you're a girl mom. Right now, I'm a girl dad. We've got 2, got a 3rd one on the way. So
awesome.
We are hoping for a boy at some point because we want that experience. But obviously, that's going to have to be in a little while. We've had consistently, I don't remember. My wife knows like how many months apart they are. I just know they're 2 years. Every 2 years we've had a kid. So it's kind of worked with our relationship too. It's like every year we had something happen. But yeah, awesome. So you said you were wholesaling in Tennessee.
That's correct. Yeah, I bought my first long-term rental here in Nashville in 2019. I moved here in 2020, really got started more in depth with real estate investing in like late 22, early 23. Bought a house in Columbia, fix and flip. That's kind of fiasco. So I'm happy to share that big old accident. Actually, it was a fail forward. that I bought a fail forward in May of 23, and it just went on the market last week, finally, as a renovated new home for someone.
Wow. Okay. So yeah. So let's break down that. Because I remember when we talked, you had mentioned it, but I didn't get a chance to get the whole story. So tell us about this deal that's now on market.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got involved with the local real estate investors Nashville group in January of 23, and was talking to other investors, kind of dabbling in different groups on Facebook, and felt this urgency, like, I've been doing this for 3 months and I haven't done anything yet. And I do that to myself. And that's a lifelong habit I've had. I put a lot of pressure on myself to perform, and in a short amount of time. So that's something I'm learning, is to give myself more grace in the learning curve with things. But in having that sense of urgency last spring, I rushed into a purchase that I shouldn't have made. And what I mean by that is, a wholesaler came to me with a house and told me that it was a light cosmetic renovation. And I did not do my due diligence, did not even see the property until after closing. Big mistake, big learning lesson there. I took his word for it. And when I got in there with my handyman, we looked around and he's like, I think this is more than you thought it was going to be. And I'm like, yeah, it was a lot more. It was actually a full gut with foundation issues. So yeah, we had floor joists underneath the house that were failing. So I had paid cash for the property. Therefore, I had no pressure of a loan or interest rate or anything. So it kind of allowed me to hide and pretend like it didn't exist for a few months, which is what I did, because I was actually very embarrassed. And, just, it was a blow to my ego, honestly. Like, I just made one of the biggest faux pas ever in real estate investing. Like, how do I recover from this? I felt stupid, and no one likes to feel that way. So I ignored it for several months. And in the fall of 23, I joined Pace Morby's Gator Method. And through that community, it's a lending community. So earnest money deposit, double close, PMLs. It's a great community. Got involved there and took my time learning all about lending. And I thought, this might be a good place to offload this house. And so I put it up in the community. It's a private Facebook group, and I offered it on a fire sale. Like, I just want out from under this. Anyone want to buy it? And I had a couple people come forward interested in potentially buying it. I had one individual that came forward and he said, I want to help you. And I said, what does that mean? And he said, you bring the asset. I'm going to bring the skill set. We're going to bring in a PML to do the renovation, and we'll split the net. And I'm like, wow, really? And I was so impressed, because you don't really find that in life in general, right? But also, it's just hard to come by that kind of quality in a person. And I feel like that community, that Gator community, has a lot of really quality individuals in there. They're, high integrity. So we joined together in a joint venture. We got a PML, a friend of his that he knew. We did everything through escrow, filed our contracts, filed our PML so that he had lien on the property, did everything very above board. That's really important to me, is always to move in integrity and always do things correctly. Even though I didn't do it myself, right? When I bought that house, which is kind of ironic, because I am a rule follower when it comes to stuff like that. But it was just my own personal pressure that made me jump when I should have paused. So, but anyway, moving forward, we did everything correctly as far as paperwork in the right place. Our JV agreement lays out all of our responsibilities and liabilities with each other. And he got to work, and he came in under budget. We did get a little bit of a delay in month 5 because the city of Columbia decided that that they wanted some money. So they came in and slapped a stop order on the house. And Blake is also a rule follower. Like, you know, he just wants to do the right thing. So he called me and said, okay, we got a stop order. He goes, I'm going to pull my guys off. And I go, what's going on? He goes, I think they just want some money. And I said, then pay him and let's move forward. And we just kind of laughed. So we did get through that. It did delay us a little bit, which hasn't been too bad, but it just went on the market last week. And all things said and done, we're looking to split about 40 grand.
Nice.
Yeah. So thanks to him, like without that person, that individual, my guardian angel, when it comes to, you know, this fix and flip, I was just going to fire sale it and lose some money, closing costs and stuff. And instead it's come full circle a year and 2 months later. I'll get my money back for the purchase and my carrying costs. Our PML is going to get paid nicely on the loan of his money. And we will be splitting the net, which is going to be about 40 grand.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So there are a few things that stuck out to me during that story. And I hope anybody watching this was able to pick up on it. First off, I don't think it's irony that you want things to be done right and in the right way when you didn't do it initially. It may be that now you're more of a stickler for doing things right because you didn't do it initially. But the biggest thing is, like, you went out and took action. You went and did it. Was it perfect? No. Did it end up okay? Yeah. There's actually a, I guess it's a parable, a story that we've heard recently that keeps resurfacing. And it's of I think it's a Chinese farmer. Chinese farmer has this beautiful horse. The horse runs away. His friends show up and they're like, oh, that's bad luck. And he's like, we'll see. Next day, the horse comes back and it brings like 3 more horses with it. And they're like, oh, that's good luck. And he's like, we'll see. His son rides the horse, falls off, breaks his leg. And they're like, oh, that's bad luck. And he's like, we'll see. And then the next day, the army comes in and is taking up all the young kids to enlist in the army, but they don't take his son because he's got a broken leg. And they're like, oh, that's good luck. And he's like, well, we'll see. So, like, things happen. And at the time, they might not seem good, I guess. Like in this case, yes, you took action. That, to me, that's a good thing, right? Did it end up working out? Well, before now, did it end up the way you thought it was going to go? No, not necessarily. But as time went on, that opened up opportunities for more things. And now you've ended up with this, the result. I think it's great. I hope you do too.
Absolutely. And that is one of my favorite parables. I love that you said that. I tell people that parable all the time. And so when you start talking about it, I'm like, I know exactly the one you're talking about. Because here's the beauty in that, Corey. And I never could have anticipated that. Blake and I are now partners in wholesaling. Had I not fumbled and bought that house and then put it into that community and joined with him in that partnership, he would not be my partner now. Moving forward, we found that we work really well together. We have similar goals and intentions. We have similar integrity. We have good communication skills. And ironically, way back in January when we got started, I was like, oh, I'm never doing another fix and flip. And he's the one that laughed and said, wait, what if we work well together? Don't you want to keep working with me? And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I guess maybe there's something here. So yeah, he and I are now partners in the wholesaling business, and we talk daily and are always, in direct communication all the time about moving forward in our wholesaling business. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So what does that look like? I know, like, how, what's the way to say this? I guess, where are you in the creation of this wholesale business? Do you have leads coming in? Have you moved any deals? Where are you at?
Okay, we started getting busy about 3 weeks ago. We've sent out 35 offers. Have not captured one yet. We had a realtor this past Friday, because we go DTA, I'm an Astro Blaster, that said, yes, send me that offer and I'll get her to sign. And then he ghosted us over the weekend. And then we saw he lowered the price on the property this morning. And he's within just a few thousand of our offer. And I call him, I text him, he won't respond. So it's challenging for sure, because you think that realtors are out there to sell properties, and guess what? I'm out there to buy properties. But it's amazing how difficult it can be to get some of them on the phone and have a conversation and negotiate things, because he's within a very close range of our offer, and he could have just come back and negotiated with us and he'd have a closed deal today. Instead, he's out pedaling still harder. Anyway, so it's very interesting. So Blake being out in the field. So Blake has a W-2. And he does all of this, he's done this entire flip, and others, I might add. I'm not the only game in town for him. Like, he's got 2 other flips that he's doing too with other people. So this man, he's a hard worker. And after his W-2 ends for the day, he goes out, he looks at properties, he goes and works on homes. Like, he's really out there and busy. So me being more at home and at the computer and able to make phone calls all day, it's very organically kind of settled into this where he's shooting me leads, and he's really good with also offer price and ARV. So he does a lot of even driving for dollars type of outreach, right? Because he's out there all the time, and he will send me addresses all day long and give me the offer price and the ARV. And so then I plug it into Astro Blaster, which is how I use it as a CRM as well. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I start issuing those offer letters. So I'm doing more of the computer, the back work, the conversations, the dials to the realtors, and he's boots on the ground, because sometimes we've run into a couple realtors that insist that someone walk the property. They won't just let us put in an offer without walking it. So he'll go walk the property and that. So, yeah.
Gotcha. And what area are you mainly trying to wholesale in?
We both live I live in Nashville. He lives in Murfreesboro. So he's Williamson County. I am Davidson County. And our fix and flip is in Maury County. So we're pretty much focused on those 3 counties. I will say we have a third partner coming on board that's in Knoxville area. So, and he's actually a real estate agent over there. So we're going to be pretty much doing anything from Nashville east. Not really too much in the Memphis area, but just sticking to where we are personally boots on the ground.
Okay. And I think are y'all are looking in Chattanooga, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's right. We had talked about that. So yeah, awesome. Well, hey, as you know, love to be a buyer for you, especially in Chattanooga. I keep meaning to do quick market analysis on see, I'm not even super familiar. Like, I know the cities in Tennessee, but I can't tell you like where they're at, except Chattanooga. I can tell you where Chattanooga's at. So I know you said east from that. What is Memphis west?
Yes. Okay. Memphis. Yeah. Here's Tennessee as kind of a rectangle. Let's see if I can do this geographically. So Memphis would be over here. My nose would be Nashville, and then Knoxville would be over here.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you're looking at it. So again, that's Memphis. My nose is Nashville, and this is Knoxville. Yeah, it's like a line across the state. So Nashville is considered Middle Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I gotta do my analysis on that stuff. Because we're also looking to move up towards Chattanooga. which I believe we talked about last time. So yeah, awesome. Okay, so let's see. What's the main thing you're looking for right now that maybe an audience member could provide to you?
Definitely building our buyers list.
Okay.
So if anyone is interested in buying in the Tennessee, Middle Tennessee to East Tennessee, we want your information. We want to know what your buy box is. What are you buying? What areas? Secondly, I would Blake and I are offering 10% of our assignment fee on any property that's provided to us that is in disrepair, that clearly needs to be renovated. It's very dated. It looks abandoned. And if that address is provided to us and we are able to get it under contract and wholesale it, we are paying 10% of our assignment fee as a finder's fee for anyone that would like to bring us those addresses.
So they don't even have to talk to anybody or get anything under contract or negotiate. They just say, hey, I saw this property. Here's the address. And is that it? Do they need to skip trace it? Or you guys handle it?
We'll do the skip tracing even. What I would suggest is if anyone is interested in that is to send me an introductory email. I want to know who you are so that I can keep track of you and the leads that you bring me. When you bring me a lead, I'm going to check our database and make sure it hasn't already been brought to us or isn't already possibly going under contract with us with someone else. That'll be really important because I want to make sure that we pay out properly. So if you bring something to me and another person brought it 3 days ago, clearly it's not something that they would get paid on. That the initial person that brings it to us is who's going to get that finder's fee. So an initial email, kdtnpropertysolutions@gmail. Introduce yourself. Let me know you saw this recording and that you're interested in being a bird dog for us. And you're bringing us those addresses. That's all you have to do is give us an address for a house that is clearly in disrepair. If we look it up on Zillow, they have the address up on Zillow, you can send us the Zillow link and then the current picture of the property. That's really important, is the current picture of the property so we can look at it versus the Zillow. Also, it helps us direct people if they aren't quite sure what we're looking for and they send us like a really nice looking house as an address. That's not a lead for us. We have to see that it's in distress. We need to see from the outside. Maybe the bushes are all overgrown and the paint's chipping off the trim. Maybe there's a broken window or, even sometimes like the window coverings inside the house are like all crooked and, it's clearly just in disrepair. That's what we want. That's the lead we're looking for. And we've been going direct to agent so far, and we are pivoting this week and we're going to go direct to seller. We're going to start focusing on off-market owner. Owner doesn't even need to live there. It can be vacant or occupied. But we're going to do more of the off-market direct to seller moving forward.
Gotcha. Okay. So that was going to be my next question. If somebody is going to be a bird dog for you, you had mentioned Zillow. Will you consider it if it is on market or
Yes.
you just want off market?
We will still consider it, especially with my experience in talking to realtors. I would love to have a conversation with the realtor on that listing. It is a little bit harder to get, to the buyer or to the seller when we have to go through the realtor. They can be kind of a block sometimes, but we will entertain it for sure. I was going to say something else about that too. Owner occupied, not occupied. I lost the thought. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. That's okay. So awesome. So, and that's Middle Tennessee. I just want to make sure everybody's got the information. Middle Tennessee to East Tennessee is what you're looking for. Single family homes, right? You're not dabbling in multifamily?
We will do small multifamily. And small is 2 units, like a duplex. Although we do not do zero lot line. For anyone outside of Tennessee that's not familiar what zero lot line is, it's basically a duplex, but the county sees it as two properties. They have their own property tax. They have all of their own APN number and everything, but they share a wall and they share a roof. So zero lot line, it's called zero lot line in Tennessee, and they're very difficult to wholesale. Because you really only own half the property and you don't know what's living in the other side. But we will do two to four unit multifamily as well.
Gotcha. Okay. That is news to me. I had never heard of zero lot line.
It was something new I had not known about either until I lived here.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Well, that's good too, because like that's something else I'm looking for is multifamily, not just small multifamily. Obviously, I'd like to start small multifamily because I recognize that it's a stair step. The skills that you build, I bought my house, so I get the process for buying a single family house. Buying a 2 to 4 unit is not that much different. And then once I've done that, I understand, I've built those skills of how to acquire 2 to 4 units. And now it's not that bad to go and buy like a 6 or 7 or 8 unit. And then that's learn new skills and move up and up and up and up. So it's kind of my goal. Now my net is a little wide. I'm looking anywhere from 2 to 30 units, but
Nice.
Starting out, I'd like to be on the smaller end. So zero lot line is basically, I just want to make sure I have this. Zero lot line is basically one property that the property line cuts the middle of it. Okay.
Yes. So it's 2 units as if you had, say, a duplex with one shared wall and a single roof across the top. What's crazy is sometimes you'll even see here a zero lot line property, and one owner has replaced their roof and the other owner hasn't. So right down the middle of the roof line, you have a 10-year-old roof and you have a brand new roof. It's bizarre.
Oh my goodness.
And therein lies the issue, right? Because not everybody's in the same financial position, even though the roof probably needed to be replaced across the entire surface. That neighbor didn't want to or didn't have the means to do their roof. So now it affects the curb appeal of the other side. Even though it's not their property, it's still, that's what people see when they pull up is 2 different colored roofs.
Wow. Okay. And that's all over Tennessee. That's a state thing, or is that a county thing?
I've seen it in Davidson County, and I know that it exists in Williamson County. So I presume it's in all counties in Tennessee,
Gotcha.
But I could be wrong.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. So guys, Kathie's already given us so many ways to work with her. Like if you're buying in Tennessee, reach out to her. She's got her number right there. Give her a call. I assume you're available to take calls, or text her. Be like, hey girl, I'll buy your properties, however you gotta say it, whatever. So if you're buying, there's a way. If you're like, because I just talked to someone today, and I'm trying to remember where he's at, but he was asking, how do I get started? How do I jump in and start getting started? How do I start in this real estate realm? And he initially was like, okay, I'll do wholesaling. I'm like, all right, cool. Do you have time for it? He goes, yeah, I got time. I'm like, all right, awesome. Here's a couple ways you can do it pretty cheaply. Here's like all the things, make sure you record your calls, giving them tips. Cause I'm also a part of a wholesale team. We do direct to agent, strictly low equity leads. So I have a little experience in like how to talk to agents and stuff like that. I've shifted now to where I'm helping teach other people how to talk to agents. And so I was giving him some tips, and I could tell on the phone he was a little overwhelmed. And so I was like, here's what I think might be a good option for you. And I brought up bird dogging. So now we have someone who straight up said, hey, just give me an address. Okay, I'm talking to you guys. If you want to get started, find an address in Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee, and send it to her. And there's potentially you could get paid on that deal. You just have to hope and pray on her amazing skills at talking to sell.
And send us a picture along with that address.
That's right.
That's where I actually recommend. You can email, that's great. But also if you want to text me a picture of the house in the moment and the address for that house, then I can take it from there.
Okay. Awesome. So let's see. Goodness. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I want to talk about what's up here on my wall. Prop AI and Creative Title and Escrow. I am one of the owners of those two companies that just launched with Pace Morby. Creative Title and Escrow is starting in 6 states across the United States. So Florida, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Nevada. Or no, excuse me, Arizona.
I was about to say, how could it not be Arizona?
Yeah, it's Arizona. Yeah, trust me. Pace is going to open in his own state for sure.
No.
But Creative Title and Escrow will then be opening in Nevada and California next year. The goal is to go nationwide. Their primary purpose is to handle all the creative finance deals that happen in real estate. So seller finance, subject to the existing mortgage, Morby method, anything creative, even a double close for some title companies is too much. They don't understand it. The AB, the BC for wholesalers, especially, they get like cross-eyed and don't understand, or maybe they've had an experience that wasn't so positive. So they've just decided we're not going to do that anymore. So Creative Title and Escrow going nationwide will literally tailor to all of these investors that have creative deals they need to close. So really excited about that. The other is Prop AI. Prop AI is an AI system to call direct to seller, and it has the capacity to call hundreds of numbers simultaneously. So say you put out a campaign and you're going to call 500 numbers, it's going to call them all at the same time. Her name is Jen. It's spelled Gen, and she has a conversation like a real person. We've seen it in action at our Owners Club Spring Immersion event that we were at when they launched this program. And we have a select group that is going through the steps right now, refining and improving the software before we go public. So if you go to Prop AI website, it's literally Prop AI, put that into your Google search. You can see and read about it. And you can also jump on the wait list to be a part of that software system when it goes live.
Gotcha. Okay, great.
Yeah, you get 22,000 calls a month. And then you get a list, you get a report after that of the warm leads. And you get exact dialogue of everything that was said between Jen and the seller. So she'll say, hi, would you like to sell your house? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about it. Okay, great. Let me ask you some questions. How old is the roof? How old is the HVAC? So in this dialogue, you get written dialogue of the conversation, but she will then generate a list to you of all the warm leads, people that had conversation with her and said, yes, they are interested in having a follow-up call. So imagine putting out 22,000 calls in a month. Think you might get 1 or 2 sellers that want to talk to you?
Yeah,
and then you can follow up with the warm calls. And if they don't answer the phone, it goes back into a generated system that it'll try again later. So we're just making manual phone calls, or a VA is making manual calls. We don't necessarily loop back around to the person that didn't answer. But with Prop AI, it'll automatically go back and recall all of those numbers that didn't answer the phone.
Okay.
Yeah. it's going to streamline wholesaling.
Yeah, absolutely. So since you're a part owner in it, right?
Correct.
So are you going to be utilizing it in your wholesale business?
Yes, absolutely. I actually have the opportunity to be one of the guinea pigs. And I think at the beginning of the call, I mentioned that Blake and I are, are shifting into direct to seller. Literally 5 minutes, I can show you the text message. 5 minutes before I got on this call, he said, we should do it. And I said, okay, I'll do it after this call. It is a wait list right now for the public. As an owner, I do have access to be one of the guinea pigs to go through and practice with the system and make improvements and suggestions. So as soon as we get off this, I'm going to be enrolling myself and utilizing the system. So that's another great thing also with my number. If you're interested in more information about Prop AI, after this interview, I will be diving into it for myself personally. And I'd love to reach back out and help anyone else that is interested in Prop AI and maybe utilizes the system when it goes public. I'd love to help you.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, I definitely, I've been hearing about it. And I am interested, trying to figure out exactly how it could help me as a buyer, outside of just knowing who's using it and me reaching out and saying, hey, I know you're going to be getting a butt ton of leads here soon, and I want to be an option to buy from you. So, but yeah, I think it's awesome. I haven't had the opportunity to hear it myself. I know Pace had mentioned it Saturday to the Sub2 community, and I think they did a demo on it, but unfortunately my phone died and I couldn't participate in that. So, but from what it sounds like, it is probably the better one of the options that are out there. It sounds like.
Well, if you know Pace brings quality to the table every single time. And
Yep.
this is no different. Yeah, if his name's going to be associated with it, it's going to bring a lot of value.
Absolutely. Well, that's amazing, and that's awesome. I was wondering what those plaques were. I didn't know if they were like, because I know we got the Sub2 semester stuff. I didn't know if that was those, but that's amazing.
Oh yeah, I have the safety badge and I have the ethics badge. So far, those are really awesome as well. Like free training. Who doesn't want? I mean, I always like to get more educated.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's nice to have those semesters to go to.
Yeah, actually, you remind me. I've got to finish them. I've just things come up, and it's been like, oh snap! I haven't done that in a few months. I need to get back to that.
Well, that's the thing with self-study. It's easy to do, and it's easy not to do.
Exactly.
One thing I have learned though is I can get on my Kajabi when I'm driving, which is super useful because I just drove from Florida back to Nashville last week after my granddaughter was born, and I listened to the ethics semesters while I was driving.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because it really is just listening. Sometimes they'll have little displays up, but really great information if you want to utilize it almost like an Audible.
All right. Yeah, that's a good tip. Well, that's awesome, Kathie. I can't really think of any other questions. So unless you have something else you want to bring up, we can move on to the last part of our show.
Can I share with you my second favorite parable?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Two angels are walking through the countryside at night, and they come across a house with the light on inside. And they ask this man and wife if they can stay. And they say, well, yes, but you must sleep in the basement and on the cold, hard floor, whatever. And during the night, the one angel finds a hole in the wall, and he looks through, and there's gold in the other side of this wall that the people don't know about. And the angel closes up the hole And they go on their way, and the next night they come to another farmer. And I probably am taking this out of context a little bit, so forgive me. If you see it, it'll connect. They come across this other house, and the man and wife invite them in and say, "Oh, of course, here, take our bed, sleep in our bed." Um, and they're just really kind, and they give them food and everything. And that night, or they wake up the next morning, and their cow is dead. Their dairy cow had died. And as they're walking away, the junior angel is asking the senior one, like, well, why did you, they were so nice. Why did you let their cow die? And I can't remember, I did already mess it up because there was something about that gold in the other house, but I forgot what the element was. But the whole idea behind the cow dying is the senior angel says to the junior angel, he said, the angel of death came for the wife, and I gave him the cow instead.
Mm.
And the whole premise of that parable, when told correctly, is that nothing is ever as it seems, and to find gratitude in what is. So did they lose their cow? Yeah. And it could have been the wife instead. So it's a beautiful parable. I encourage anyone that loves those kinds of things to look it up.
Yeah, I was just looking it up. Let's see. There's one. It's Boy Scout Trail. Let's see. It looks like it's the same thing. That's the website. Is Boy Scout Trail. Two traveling angels stopped to spend the night in the home of a wealthy family. The family was rude and refused to let the angels stay in the mansion's guest room. Instead, the angels were given a small space in the cold basement. As they made their bed on the hard floor, the older angel saw a hole in the wall and repaired it. When the younger angel asked why, the older angel replied, "Things aren't always what they seem." The next night, the pair came to rest at the house of a very poor but very hospitable farmer and his wife. After sharing what little food they had, the couple let the angels sleep in their bed, where they could have had a good night's rest. When the sun came up the next morning, the angels found the farmer and his wife in tears. Their only cow, whose milk had been their sole income, lay dead in the field. The younger angel was infuriated and asked the older angel, "How could you have let this happen? The first man had everything, yet you helped him. The second family had little, but was willing to share everything, and you let the cow die." "Things aren't always what they seem," the older angel replied. "When we stayed in the basement of the mansion, I noticed there was gold stored in that hole in the wall. Since the owner was so obsessed with greed and unwilling to share his good fortune, I sealed the wall so he wouldn't find it. Then last night, as we slept in the farmer's bed, the angel of death came for his wife. I gave him the cow instead. Things aren't always as they seem." So there you go.
Thank you. Yes, all of those words you said, that was what was in my head.
Yep. That's good. I'd never heard that one.
Yeah, it's really good. It goes to Miguel Ruiz wrote the Four Agreements. And one of the four agreements is never take anything personally, because you don't know what's going on the other side. So, things are just not ever as they seem, right? We see things, situations through our set of glasses, right? I call them glasses, which are belief systems, and we all wear 200 different pairs of glasses at all times. And those glasses are designed from the time we're a very small child and how we were raised, what we were taught, the influences around us. So we all wear belief systems. And if I wear a pair of glasses and I'm looking at a shirt and my glasses are blue, and you're wearing a pair of glasses that are red looking at that same shirt, you and I are never going to agree, because you see it through a red lens and I see it through a blue lens. Neither one of us are right and neither one of us are wrong. We just have our perceptions, our beliefs around things. So never take anything personal, and things are not always as they seem are two really good principles in life, not just in business.
Now, see, I think if you have that understanding, because for me personally, like, I agree with what you're saying. We have different colored glasses looking at the same thing. The part I disagree in is it's not that neither one of us are right, neither one of us are wrong. It's we're probably both wrong. and we're just viewing it through our lens, right? But the actual thing is its own thing. There is a set, boom, say it's a white shirt, right? Okay.
Yeah.
It is a white shirt. Oh, well, you think it's blue. I think it's red. We're both wrong. It's just our perception is changing it.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, because you're absolutely right. And that's something that leads me to, anytime anyone tells me a story, I understand that there are three sides to every single story. There's his side, there's her side, and somewhere in the middle is the truth,
Yep.
right? The somewhere in the middle is the truth is that white shirt. So yeah, very, very, very true.
Now, I think it's important to understand that you're probably wrong.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
Yeah. If you always approach it like, I could be wrong, but this is how I see it, it's amazing how receptive people are when you have that approach, rather than coming off, well, I know it's this way. This is how it is. No, not necessarily. I could be wrong, but this is how I see it. Can you tell me how you see it? Man, you will make so many great relationships that way, with that kind of approach and understanding.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I don't mean to expand on this further, but like that made me think, okay, there's a white shirt. We don't know that. I have red goggles. You have blue goggles. I see a red shirt. You see a red shirt. I say, hey, I see a red shirt. Or I might be getting them mixed up. You say you see a blue shirt. We're both wrong. It's a white shirt. But there is something we both know. It's a shirt.
Yes.
So.
Yes. So we can agree on that. It is a shirt.
Yep. There you go. Sorry, that was a tangent I did not expect to get on. Anyways.
That's all right. That was fun.
Now, let's move on to the last part of our podcast. All right. So just a few questions, pretty basic. Ask them every time. First, what made you want to be on the podcast today?
It's getting comfortable getting in front of the camera.
Awesome.
I really enjoyed our call, introducing ourselves to each other and talking. And I mentioned that this is something that's more challenging for me. I don't necessarily like being in front of the camera. So you stepped up to the plate and said, well, in that case, would you like to be a guest? So thank you for that. Thank you for forcing me to flex that muscle and get a little more comfortable with it each time.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I think I'll probably be the same way. Like I'm on camera, but it's my show, right? I feel like I haven't had many opportunities to be interviewed by other people. So I feel like that's once that does start happening, I'll probably be like, ooh, wait a minute. Because being the interviewer is actually not that hard. All I gotta do is ask questions and just let you talk. But yeah, awesome. Okay, so it obviously sounds like, and my plan is to change this, but why aren't we doing business together?
Because I just now have you on my buyer's list.
There we go.
So it's the end of that era of not doing business together, right? You're now on my buyer's list, so we're looking in Chattanooga for you.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so what would you say are your strengths in business or your personal life?
In business, 100%, I'm a visionary. If you tell me what your dream is, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, let's go there. Let's dream build. It's a muscle I've flexed for many years with many different businesses over the past. I've been doing my own businesses since 2004, a variety of different things. I did a startup yoga studio in Southern California. Hip, hip, hooray, hot yoga, healthy you. It's still there in Temecula, California. I'm a huge visionary. So I can dream build with you, expand on your idea with you. We'll design like all the things. Love that. In my personal life, strengths, probably discipline is one of my strengths. And I think that was really instilled from a young age, talking about belief systems from my parents. They were really hardworking, blue collar Americans that just, they worked and worked and worked and provided for the family. We were, the nuclear family, mom and dad. Well, no, it's not true. My mom was a stay-at-home mom until I was 6, and then she went to work. But, 2 incomes. I was a latchkey kid from about 7 years old and on, 6, 7 years old. So discipline, work ethic, honesty, integrity. Like my parents really walked that walk. So it was funny because I spent my summers in California with my aunt and uncle, and I joke and say that's where I got my party ethic because we went camping and water skiing and rode motorcycles in the wash and went to SeaWorld and Disneyland, and they were just party people. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So on the flip side of that, then, what are your weaknesses?
In business, technology is a huge challenge for me. I literally just got on Facebook last year when I started real estate. I had been on it for my yoga studio back in California. And when I sold the studio, they took over the account and I was off. So everything that I am doing on the computer to do real estate, I am learning from scratch. Like right down to even Facebook, learning that from scratch. That's a huge challenge for me. It's like I joke and say I'm a fax machine in an AI world. I'm a bit of a dinosaur when it comes to all that. I understand now why my grandmother thought a microwave was so foreign. Because when I was 8 years old, my dad lugs this 100-pound microwave into our house for the very first time, and my grandmother couldn't use it. That's how I feel now. It's kind of funny. And in personal weakness, I don't know if you can consider this a weakness, but my dog is my weakness. Like I prioritize his mental health above my own physical health sometimes. If it's a 2-hour, dog park run for him and it cut out my own workout, I will do that for him. Yeah. I don't know if that counts or not, but yeah, he means a lot.
Depends on who you talk to.
Yeah, it does. It's funny. I was always afraid of dogs growing up, and this dog just swooped my heart. And yeah, my husband says he loves me, but he loves you. Like he loves you. It's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. No, I always grew up with dogs. My wife grew up with cats. And then I think she was 5 months pregnant with our first. And we were like, you know what? We gotta prep for the baby. So let's get a puppy. So we got a puppy, and it was adorable. It was a mini Aussie. And unfortunately, it's been about 2 years now. He got hit by a car. So it was rough, but since then, it's just like at that time, we had a dog and 3 cats in the house, along with a kid.
That's a lot.
Since the dog died, things happened. The cats started disappearing. Not really disappearing. 2 of them were so scared of my oldest daughter, they would not get out from under the couch. And so we were like, all right, let's give you to a better home. Not sure it was a better home. But we did what we did. And then we just had 1 cat, which we had him the longest. He loved it. And then we had our second child, and right after that, we ended up with another kitten. That was at my grandparents' house. Super cute. I was like, we got to have it. So we took it. And all our cats have been rescues. And then sure enough, that cat was like a dog. It would climb in your lap, try and eat from your plate. Like it was food hungry. Like, it was crazy. And the first time it climbed up on our newborn and was like, we don't declaw or anything like that. So we're like, nope, you're out. It it grew up outside anyways. It had only been inside for like a week. So we're like, boom, you're out. It wasn't a week. It was a little longer. Threw it out, and it just hung around the backyard, whatever, stayed there. Our second cat, or the oldest cat that we had, for whatever reason, decided one day he had enough. And I went to pick him up, and he just right across my face. And I was like, nope, bye. Tossed him out too. And since then, it has been so peaceful. We don't have any animals in the house. It's amazing. And like once we get our farm, we're gonna have dogs again, but they're gonna be work dogs. They're gonna be out in the farm doing their jobs. So some people would agree with you that it's not a weakness. Me, I can see it being a weakness. Just be honest. So you know
That's okay.
So anyways, last question, or actually second to last question. What, and we kind of already answered this, what do you need help with that's going to make you money in the next 30 days?
Bird dogs. People bringing me addresses of properties that need to be renovated, repaired, that are in disrepair, vacant, abandoned. Yeah, that's the number one thing. And second would be a buyer's list.
Okay. There you go, guys. Bird dog for, get on our buyer's list. As long as you're not buying in Chattanooga, because that's mine. I'm just kidding.
It's territory.
And then lastly, which we'll just recover, best place to get in touch with you, phone number and email.
Yep, phone number, email. You can even DM me at on Instagram, mycatllc. Yeah, any of those would work just great. That California, that area code 951, I am from California, so I still have my own number. Don't let it throw you off. Tennessee is a 615, typically, or 629.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. Awesome.
Right.
Well, that's all I've got. I really appreciate your time. It sounds like you've got some technology stuff to go handle now.
Yeah. Or just hire an integrator.
There you go. There you go.
That'll be my first hire for me personally. Operations manager that can, assemble all the things that need to be assembled in technology world.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, Kathie, I really appreciate you spending time, almost an hour with us. And yeah, it's been insightful. I learned a little bit. I've figured out more on how we can work together, and I hope other people have figured out how best to work with you as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Corey. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to send you back real quick and close this thing up.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Well, guys, that's our show. What'd you think of Kathie? I thought she was great. She didn't seem any shy. No, that's not the right. Let me back up. Restart. That's her show. I thought Kathie was great. She didn't seem shy at all. That's what I was trying to say about being on the camera. And as you know, guys, you're going to see all this because we don't edit anything. Because of the authenticity, I shouldn't have to tell you this, but guys, like and subscribe. Obviously, if you actually like the video, you'll just go ahead and do it. I don't have to tell you. But anyways, put comments in below about anything, whatever. Tell me about yourself. Tell me what you got going on next week. It doesn't matter. Just tell me something. Or don't. I'm not your mom. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And peace be with you until next week. Actually, I hope it continues on, but you get what I'm saying.